Welcome to the Believe and Achieve podcast with Lyndon Longhorne and Jay Manners. You will learn many hints and tips throughout this program. It will be a process which will be ongoing and will inspire you throughout your career. Let's go.
Welcome to Believe and Achieve podcast with your hosts Jay Manners and Lyndon Longhorne. Say hello, Lyndon.
Afternoon, morning, wherever you're at in the world.
Or whenever you're listening to this podcast.
Whenever.
Yeah. So for today's episode, we're going to be talking about lockdown. And it's been about 15 months since the pandemic happened. It feels like it's flew over, but then again, at some parts, it has definitely dragged. So we're going to be talking about our experiences through all three lockdowns. Then there has been some highs and there's definitely been some very lows. But
I agree. There definitely has been some lows in that. Like I'm not going to lie.
100%. So without further ado, Lyndon, could you be able to just talk about how your first lockdown was?
Yeah. So lockdown for me, the first part of it was kind of like the unknown, because like we were training and then everything just kind of came to stop, and it was like the first morning in lockdown you just thought, geez, what the hell's going on? Like it just didn't feel surreal. And to kind of then when you called into a meeting to be like, right, you're only going to be able to do gym sessions at home, and it's kind of like staying on top of your fitness for the period of what you've done throughout, like the work that's been done from 2019 leading into 2020, and it's how you keep on top of that. But yeah, for me it was kind of a challenge to just, because like obviously I can't do any aerobic work apart from like in my wheelchair, but I'm not pushing myself up that bank every single day because it's about 10 foot steep or something.
Yeah, I've been up your bank and it's not the best of hills ever.
I think I might be needing like someone to come and tow me up, to be honest with you, but fair enough. But yeah, mine was just kind of like based around strength training and things like that. But yeah, it wasn't the easiest thing to actually put myself through in the end. Yeah, to be honest. What about you? How was your lockdown?
Yeah, exactly the same as you. Like it was that I remember our last session actually, because it was like we didn't know if we were going in lockdown or when it was going to happen. And I think it was that Wednesday night, and our coach just said, right, I just want you to race. Like,
yeah,
we don't know when you're going to be back in the pool again, so we're just going to race. And I obviously said to our coach, like, oh, what do you want me to do? And he just looked at me and was like, you know exactly what I want you to do. So for those of you who don't know me, I am a 400 medley swimmer. So of course I ended up doing 400 medley, and I ended up going like 427, which was like PB +3 from like when I was tapering, resting and everything. So it was like a really amazing swim, but it's bittersweet because like you've put all that hard work, and I was flying and training. Like I was really doing really well. And of course the Olympic trials was like a month away at this point. So for like lockdown, it'd just be like right around the corner, and we then went into lockdown and we didn't know what was happening with Olympic trials and anything like that. And it was just like a bit of like, what do we do?
Yeah, it was the unknown all the way through, like right from when everything kicked off to then, is Olympic trials going to go ahead, and then is the games going to go ahead? Like what exactly is going to happen? It was just one of those where you couldn't let your mental side of it take you down that path of saying, what's the point anymore? You had to stay positive right the way throughout, because you're like, is this going to last forever? How long is it going to last for? It was all them unknowns that you can't answer. And I think through the first lockdown, like myself and you, Jay, have obviously learned a lot, but it's kind of like you cannot let the unknown or the uncontrollable factors get in your way. You've got to focus on what you can control.
100%. And it's like throughout, like everyone's in the same boat, and it's not like someone's got more of an advantage than the other. Like we haven't experienced, and nobody's experienced this in their lifetime at all. And it's just learning, like you say, like learning to find ways of what you can control and not what you can't. And I think like the first few weeks it seemed like the drag, but when we got into a routine and a schedule, then that's when the weeks were flying by. And
Yeah.
I feel like as a club, and personally for me and you as well, we got a lot closer through them
Yeah.
lockdowns.
Not too close though.
Oh yeah, obviously socially distant and stuff like that. But like our friendship really, really grew,
Yeah.
which was excellent. And we were doing a lot of quizzes as well. Like we were just getting to know like our squad mates, and like obviously us two were getting to know each other a lot more as well. Because
Yeah.
we've known each other for a very long time, because we both swam in Durham a good like what?
For 2012 it was that
Yeah,
I started at Durham, and then obviously I knew you from Durham, and then things started to take a bit of a turn because I was going to uni and everyone was looking for a bit of a change, and then obviously there's quite a thing going on with the club and we didn't know what was happening, and it was kind of like we both had to make different changes with life. And then yes, we've stayed in touch throughout, but then now I feel like because we're with Durham side of a swimming club, we've kind of like grew a bond that we've become like brothers near enough, to be honest
yeah,
with you.
exactly.
But I feel like, yeah, like lockdown, it was kind of like you go from having that routine where you're in the pool every single day of the week, morning, night, you're in the gym every other day, to then going, boom, you've hit a brick wall. That's it. You're not doing any of this no more. You're doing one gym session every other day. And you kind of think to yourself, whoa, wait a minute, what on earth's going on? I know with me, like, mental side of it kind of hit me a lot, and I struggled quite a bit through the first lockdown, and it's kind of recognizing that part. And I think that's where it is important to actually like speak to the right people to actually get the help that you need, because if I didn't do that, like I wouldn't be the person that I am today, really, without speaking up. So
Yeah, that's a great message as well. It's so key to openly talk about stuff and not keep things
yeah,
bottled up. Like 100%, yeah.
I think as well, like the main thing for us as a squad, yes, we all get along, yes, we all gel really well, and we knew each other like right the way through before even lockdown occurred. And I think because we'd spent a few months together getting to know each other, it was kind of like, right, we'll organize like quiz nights on a Friday, we'll organize sessions on like Discord, whether we want gaming sessions with like Uno, or
Yeah,
if we want to give them Call of Duty or something like that. And it was, I think that's what helped a lot of us get through it, because I know,
yeah,
like for younger guys that have went through it, like yes, if you're in like primary school and stuff like that, or like babies and stuff, they're not going to know what's exactly going on until they get older, and everyone saw what happened in 2020 to 2021. What was this pandemic? And it's something to look back on now and say, if this didn't occur, it wouldn't have made me the person that I am today.
yeah,
And it just makes you realize to not take everything for granted, because I think half the time you're like, oh yeah, I can go and swim, yeah, I can go to the gym, but as soon as that's taken away from you, it's like, what do I do? Like,
yeah,
where do I go from here? What am I going to do? What's life called? And then yes, everyone, like you had people that was getting furloughed, people that was losing the jobs, and it's kind of like, shit, this is hit hard for a lot of people. And it's not just athletes, don't forget, it's everyone outside of swimming, who are like putting like the staff, S&C coaches, nutritionists, everyone around the world being put under this grid of where that's it, you're just going to be put here now until we can come back out. So
yeah. And I feel like the support that we've had is superior. Like it was incredible. Like the
yeah,
support that we had from the club, and it helped us all stay engaged with one another. And I felt like that was very, very important. Um, Fast forward to like May, June time, we went to the river and started swimming again, started to get the feel. But I feel like with
oh, the
that,
best experience in my life that was.
you nearly drifted away at one point.
And the current nearly got me, and I was like, see you boys, I'm off.
There was one day where it was really, really cold and it was raining and the wind was just
Yeah,
so bad. And it felt like we were like swimming fast, but we were going nowhere.
yeah,
One end. Coming back, put me put me on like a 400 freestyle, I would have got like 2 minutes or something like that. It was ridiculously fast. But yeah, that was really, really fun, and like getting us some exposure to open water. I've done open water in the past, so I knew what to expect. But yeah, it is always nice. And the days where it was sunny, you didn't even have to wear a wetsuit or anything like that. That was really nice. But yeah.
What did you find different from first lockdown to second lockdown though? Like what? Because obviously we had the lockdown period for, when did it hit? It was like March time, wasn't it? Where everything started to slowly decrease, and then April everything just went wolf. That's it. Like there's nothing for us to do. But like then we went back in the pool, and then it was kind of like the second lockdown, which happened in November time. So what do you find better in the second lockdown compared to the first? What did you learn?
Yeah, I feel like when we got back in the pool in August, obviously there was just so much excitement of just being back in the water again. And I felt like from the first lockdown, like a lot of us really appreciated like being back in a building with a pool, with a gym, because it was one of the leisure centres were one of the last to open.
Yeah.
So it was a very long wait for them to open, annoyingly. But like yeah, we had like a really good training block from like August to October, and like obviously we were doing that a level X that was organised by Swim England, where we would race in our home environment. Like we all were producing like really fast times, which was good to see.
Yeah.
And then the second lockdown came around, and it was like I took this one the hardest than the first, because like the work that we've been putting in and the work that we've been doing, like we were on fire.
Yeah.
And there was a goal in sight. But then for it to just be another lockdown, I found it really, really difficult, because like I was flying then, and for it, I think it was just the knowing you're going back to square one. You're a bit like, because from the first lockdown, like yes, it was hard and very, very challenging, but like we made fun of it, and it was in the summer, and the weather was really, really nice through that first lockdown. Whereas in November, the second lockdown, to say that we're only locked down for 4 weeks, it's like what's the point?
I felt the 4 weeks felt longer than 4 weeks, to be honest with you.
Absolutely,
like, well, what on earth's going on? And like you had people having lockdown birthdays. It's like you're having parties over Zoom, and I think everyone will be sick of the sight of Zoom, but to get rid of it when it comes out to getting out of it completely on June 21st. But
I know.
Yeah,
like, and the second lockdown, but like it's a mental game, and it's just like you're either gonna, it's either make or break, and you need to push on that like mental barrier and just be like, it's only 4 weeks. And I think it took me a day or two to be like, right, it's only 4 weeks. It's not a problem. Like we've done it for 6 months. I can do it for 1 month. You know what I mean? So I just made myself a routine, like discussed it with our coaches, and that was my plan for the next 4 weeks until we got back. Obviously, towards the end of the second lockdown, there was like a tier system, and we went into tier 3, I think.
Yeah.
And with that situation, over 18s weren't allowed to train with their own club unless you're in elite, which you're an elite. And I think like it was just being told that you can't train with your club, and it's just like, what? Like it makes no sense. Like it still makes no sense. But we'll get that on. We'll get on about that later. But and I just felt like December, it was just like it wasn't the same, like coming back from the first lockdown, because like I wasn't with yous, but I was still making strides, and I was still trying to focus something away from swimming. So I was doing my level 2 coaching course, like just to help take my mind away from like going to swim with the public or something like that. Like no disrespect to the public or anything like that, but like if you're at like a standard that we are now, it can be frustrating for both myself and the public. But what about you? What was the second lockdown like for you?
I fear for me, like the first lockdown was quite difficult because I obviously when I spoke to like strength and conditioning coaches and swimming coach, it was like my program was kind of the same all the way through the first lockdown. And it's you've got to keep your mind fresh. You can't just doing the same repeated stuff all the way through. Yes, I was still working full time and working from home, and it was difficult working from home because you're stuck against four walls. You can't get out of them four walls until like you go outside, whether it's for a bit of fresh air, whether it's in the garden or just for a walk, whatever it is. Whereas the second lockdown, when I got round to it, luckily, obviously the contacts what I made, and obviously I've known for a few years, I managed to get hold of like a ski erg to give us some extra boost with like conditioning work and things like that. The first lockdown side of it was kind of like all dumbbells, med balls, box jumps, everything like that. And if once you do that for a 6 month period, your mind goes, "What am I doing? Like I'm just doing the same stuff day in, day out, day in, day out," and you've got to stay on top of that side of it. The second lockdown side, as soon as I got the ski erg, and when you get a program to go right, you're gonna do your shoulders today, you're gonna do your abs today. The next day you're gonna do your like glutes, lower limb work, and then these days you're gonna do like say Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday you do stuff with the ski erg. So whether it's just 10, 20-second blasts straight away, getting it up as high as you can and trying to mimic like your stroke rate or whatever you're trying to do. But it's kind of that like endurance work of it. For me, it's difficult because like yourself, Jay, you can go out for a run, you can go out on the bike and things like that. Whereas being an amputee, living somewhere where it's got a bank steep as Everest, like,
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. That's not an exaggeration at all.
yeah, like you're gonna struggle to actually get any cardio work into your system. And I think this for me helped me through the second lockdown. And yes, there was a lot of stuff going on outside of work, like work and family life and things like that. But for me, it was the benefit of being able to get my mind free. And I think through this period, I'd managed to like get my mind in a better place and I'd spoken up. And I think that's what I found hard in the first lockdown because I'd started to not know. It's difficult because I didn't know who I was and I was struggling to understand my disability because that's when I started to get frustrated with it.
Yeah.
Whereas the second lockdown, I kind of got a better understanding of that. And I was like, right, okay, this isn't something that you can handle. Everyone who knows who I am, like being a triple quad amputee, like obviously I had meningitis when I was younger at the 8.5 months old. So like now everyone sees me as like this positive, bubbly person. Whereas you don't, yes, I do have my days and do have down days. I'm not going to deny that, but it's kind of not letting your disability get the better of you to push you forward. But yeah, it was the strongest mental challenge that I've been through. But I'm just pleased that I had the people there to speak up to about it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you say, like it's so much harder for you to like get out and like do the
Yeah,
aerobic stuff where like you said, because I can easily just go out on my bike or something like that. Like I was on very, very long bike rides in the first lockdown with my
yeah,
auntie. She was like my coach technically throughout that lockdown because she really pushed me through my paces. Honestly,
yeah.
I think I went up
Like
the
for
hill
me,
steep. I went up for a hill steeper than yours.
yeah.
Like,
I'm pleased you can get somewhere steeper than my bank, to be honest with you.
honestly,
But I think, like, obviously, like, I can put prosthetics on and like go for a walk. But if I go for a walk and say, for example, like I was to do like a 3 mile walk or some 5 mile walk, I might not even get back to my house and it'll do my back. And then by the
yeah.
time it does my back, then that's like 2, 3 weeks from not doing any gym training or anything like that in the house that I could potentially do. So it's all about like keeping your body fresh and doing the right things to prevent injury too as well. So
Yeah, it's being smart with it as well, and I feel like you were very,
yeah,
very smart on what you'd done throughout the lockdowns, and especially when you got that skiing, that was like a massive, massive help for
yeah.
you, and like very great. I'm sure it's very grateful that you managed to get that.
Oh, 100%. Like without that, like my mind would have gone insane again, to be honest with you. Because like
Yeah,
I feel like it's like a young kid when you get toys, and then as soon as your toys are taken away, you're like, what on earth's going on? Like, why have these been taken away from us? You feel like you've done something wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, that for me, it was a game changer, to be honest with you. And anyone that you speak to, like who's coaching us at the minute, or like whoever's in the club, like that for me helped me out through that lockdown. And it's a simple bit of equipment, but something so simple can make your mind change completely about it. Because
It makes
it's
a
quite
massive
easy to
difference.
just
Yeah.
go, yeah, it's quite easy to just go, oh yeah, like I'll get up this morning, I'll go and do, I don't know, 100 press-ups, I'll go and do 50 box jumps, I'll go and do 20 dumbbell snatches or something like that. And it's like, do I really want to be doing this every day? What am I actually going to gain from this? So it's the variety as well to keep you on top.
Yeah, and after the second lockdown, obviously, I mentioned that we were back in December for, again, it was just a month until it was announced again that we were going in like a national lockdown again, which was
again
lockdown free, which was probably exactly the same as the first one, but like I feel like there was some measures that were a little bit like, I felt like it wasn't as strict as the first lockdown, but like it still had the same like sort of vibe. This third lockdown, I actually probably saw it coming, and I was ready for it this time round. I don't know how you can say that you're ready for a lockdown, but
I think it was because there was loads of rumours going around in December, and I feel personally, I think it would have been better to go, right, do you know what? Let's keep us in a lockdown through December.
Yeah.
And then hopefully get out of it earlier.
Yeah.
But I think because it was the Christmas time and a lot of revenue comes in Christmas because everyone's going out to shops and stuff like that. And as soon as we all hit it in January, it was like, do you know what? What's the difference? We've done it from March onwards. It's no different to what we have done. It's not as though we're starting fresh again. We've been through it once. We've been through it twice. Why can't we do it a third time?
Yeah.
The thing what I think a lot of us gained from it was like PMA. It's a positive mental attitude that takes you right the way through that, because it's important to keep your mind free and to actually go, do you know what? I've done it before, so let's do it again. I don't care. Whatever comes my way, you can actually do it, you know? So
yeah. Yeah, and for me as well, like obviously with like the over 18s being separate from the clubs, I felt as though that we were all back together again when we went in that third lockdown. And it felt, I feel like it was like, it put me more at ease knowing that like we're all in the same boat once again. I know it must be like horrible for like the likes of views and stuff like that, but for me it was all right, like, because I know that we were going to be in the same boat again. But like I took more of
back to quiz nights.
Oh yeah, back to quiz nights. We organised some very good quizzes though, like every Friday night doing a quiz, and it made the lockdown seem like it went very, very quickly as well. But for this third lockdown, obviously, like you say, we've done it once, we've done it twice. We know what to expect. And with this third lockdown, I took more of an aggressive approach, like with my training. I was doing pretty much doubles every single day. So I would do like either a walk or a bike ride on the morning, then go for a run at lunch, and then have like our home gym on the night, every other night. And I do, like, for me being a distance athlete and a medley swimmer, I really need to keep up my aerobic endurance. I feel like with being like a sprinter, it's easier, like with the aerobic stuff. But like if I want to keep my stamina up when I get back in the pool, I felt as though I needed to do more than what the average person would be doing. So again, it's just creating a routine, keeping a schedule of what you want to do, and the weeks just flew by. And and I just felt this third lockdown just seemed a lot easier. I don't know about you, but I found it a lot easier than the previous ones.
Yeah, I think as well, I think what helped yourself out is obviously like Fitness Watch. And I know like we'd been speaking about it a lot, and it was like, oh, do I get this one? Do I get that one? Like, which one do I actually want to try?
Yeah.
And I think when you've got something to like, yes, you've got your motivation because you know you're going to be getting back in the pool and you've got your targets that you want to hit. But outside of the pool, it's like, how do I know I'm staying fit? Like, yes, you can go do a 10-mile run, yes, you can go and do a 20-mile run. You can go and do a bike ride for 15 mile or whatever you want to do. But yeah, how do I know that I'm actually staying fit and healthy with myself and eating the right things? For me, like obviously the Apple Watch helped me out quite a bit through this second lockdown for like keeping on top of fitness. I know, like obviously we keep getting notifications like all the time from
It got
like,
really
oh yes,
competitive, actually.
didn't it? So it's kind of that motivation. Yes, you're not together, but you watch buzzers and tells you, right, this person's gonna work it, and say, I'm not letting this person beat me. I'm a hell. Like,
Yeah.
on your bike, let's go.
I know, yeah.
But yeah, the third lockdown for me was kind of, I think when you get the news, like, yes, games are going ahead, this is going ahead, it's like, right, there's some positive to take on this. Not everything's going to be completely cancelled. We have got things to look forward to. And I think once you get to that routine, yes, obviously gladly got the ski erg back, which was a massive bonus again. And you've got to go months and months of doing loads of cardio work. And when it got round, I think it was like February time, when obviously Elite's got the permission where you could go and do a competition, but it was only for selected people. It was like, hold on, is this actually going to work? No pool training. Yet I had to go and do, what was it, like 6 races or something in the space of 3 days with no training. So that it's like, again, I'll always go back to it. It's PMA. Like, unless you stay positive and push yourself through that period, then you don't know what the outcome is on the other side. But that was a massive factor for me, and I think everyone's communication skills, like mine definitely, and I think yours as well, Jay, is like massively improved.
Yeah.
And it's kind of one of those where you cannot just sit back. You cannot just expect things to come and be handed to you. It's one of those where, right, we need to actually go out and source this information. Because yes, you can get a program given to you and be like, right, these are what you're doing, but it's kind of like, right, let's go and do extra, or let's go and do this to make sure you're actually staying on top. And I think once you've got a group behind you that is supportive and pushes yourself, and it's like obviously our motto is like believe and achieve, which is why we've called it Believe and Achieve, the like podcast. It's if you believe in yourself and you have the squad around you to believe in you, you are going to go on to achieve bigger and better things. And unless you actually believe in that, then that's when you will actually have some more self-confidence to do that. So yeah, for me, the third lockdown out of them all was like the biggest factor for me, and the one that's like strived me to be a bigger and better person, to be honest with you.
Definitely. And it just, it wasn't like a great start of the year, but it was like a more like a good set in stone for what's to come in this year. And I know I said
it's not your typical start to a year where you go and like have your New Year's parties and be like, woo, happy New Year, get in, here we go again, back to a new year, new me, whatever it is. And it's like, wait there, we can't do that. Like, we're stuck. Everyone's trapped indoors and everyone's having parties over Zoom, getting the champagne out. Cheers.
Cha-ching.
But
but like, again, with like obviously organizing like a routine through the third lockdown and everything like that, and like learning what to do outside of training as well. And like, I started my YouTube channel up again to like, it really helped us. And one of my main goals coming into this year was obviously what you mentioned before about communication. I wanted to be verbally active more, because like whenever a house phone rings or something like that, I always like just tend to leave it because I don't want to answer it, because I know I have to speak, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I just wanted not to be like afraid, and like for what I want to do in my future life, I do need to be more vocal and verbal and everything. And I felt like YouTube really helped me with that. And I was able to get like interviews with people I would never have imagined. If you told me a year ago that I was going to have an interview with like the CEO of Swim England, like I would have said, no, you haven't been on here. But you know what I mean? It is like that. And it's like getting yourself out there more as well. And not, it's like Shy Ben's getting out, what we say up north. It's exactly like that. And with the third lockdown, and I said like there is highs and lows, but like from like a high through the lockdown, like third lockdown of like how well I was doing at the start of it, we then hit a massive low of my whole household, my family got COVID-19. and we were hit with that. That was very, very tough because it's like we sort of knew it was coming because my dad took ill on the Sunday night, Monday morning, and me and my mum sent him off to get a COVID test. I mean, both knew like this is it, like he has got COVID, you can tell. And then sooner or later, me and my mum both tested positive as well, and like we sort of knew it was coming, but when you see it on a screen, it's like, oh my, like this is real. And it was a really scary experience for me because seeing my parents like really, really ill from it, it was like, oh God, like I might wake up and they might not be there, you know what I mean? As deep as that sounds, but like that's the effects COVID has for different people. Luckily for me, I had every symptom, but very, very mild. I lost my taste and smell before my dad, even though he got COVID earlier than me. So it was very strange, and it like I was quite self-isolated, like even though like I'm with my parents, but I was in my room away from them because it's great that I've got mild symptoms, but like let's just keep it that way and not try and get me more seriously ill. But that was a very challenging 2 weeks, and I still somehow managed to keep exercising and keep to a routine. Luckily, I had an indoor exercise spin bike, so I was able to use that to my full advantage. And it was definitely an experience that I won't forget, and it was just horrible. But we're out on the good side.
Yeah. I think as well, once you get to that mind frame of like you're saying, it's the unknown. Like one day you might wake up and like, yes, someone's not there with you, and it is a scary thought. And I think it's not letting your mind overtake you to go and letting your emotions run wild. It's kind of staying positive and do you know what? Yes, it's hit us, but do you know what? Why should we let this stop us? This is trying to pull us down. Don't let something like this pull you down, which is only going to be with you for like a few weeks. If you fight it and your body fighting you and your body are fighting it, and it's your mental and physical side which is going to overcome you and make you a bigger person, to be honest, and make you stronger. And I think once this lockdown, mentally it pushes you to your points. And the first one that pushed us to a point where I was just like, what the hell am I doing? Why do I actually bother with anything? And then it's kind of like once you speak out and you learn the facts, it's like, do you know what? Said it all months ago, but now it's like, it is what it is. You've got to move forward, and you have to keep that mindset to actually go, do you know what? I will get shit done, and I will push barriers to the next level, because there's no way that I'm going to let a blooming virus come round and just go, do you know what? Yes, you put a whole stop to the world, but you're not going to stop my training from going from this point to actually getting us to like Olympic, European, Commonwealth, or like national competition. So
and just to wrap up on like the lockdown podcasts, what would you say that you've learned throughout all three lockdowns?
Through all three lockdowns, I think for me, it would be communication would be a big side of it. It's to mentally stay strong and be positive, to be able to push yourself through. And the biggest factor I learned is to just speak. Because like, yes, everyone's in it. None of us are in it alone. It's not as though one person's going through one thing and someone's going through another. Everyone's still fighting through it. Whether you're on furlough, whether you're working full time, you're overloaded with work. You've just got to take that step back and do you know what? I need a little bit of a break. I need this bit of time to just say, I need some downtime to actually refocus and get my mind to come back on point. Without that, your mind's just going to constantly run at 1,000,000 miles per hour, and you cannot keep up. Once you fall behind, take the scales. If you have a set of scales and one thing drops off, the other one's going to go down and one's going to be increasing. If you keep the one on the same level playing field all the way through, you'll be absolutely fine. And as long as you speak to people on a regular basis, you haven't got a problem. That's the biggest thing what I learned like through all these 3 lockdowns, and also just keep the variety. Planning ahead and staying to a schedule helps you out a lot. Like a massive thing that's helped me.
100%. I second that as well. Yeah. And another thing for me is like just to appreciate everything. Like,
yeah,
when we were self-isolating, like in February, like I was very, very grateful, like for the family and friends around me. Obviously, like you mentioned, speaking out and stuff like that, and people get like dropping off stuff for us and everything like that. That was amazing.
Yeah.
And like as soon as like we were like you're allowed back out again, I was just like appreciating fresh air again. You know what I mean?
Fresh air, woohoo!
I know, and it's just like, wow, like you just, I think once you experience it, and obviously with the lockdowns and stuff, when something's taken away from you, you don't realize how much you took it for granted until it's took away. And I feel like obviously now that the lockdowns are hopefully, fingers crossed, over, like I go into every swim session now, and even if it's still with the public, I appreciate every swim that I have. I appreciate.
You get on your knees and you go and kiss the chlorine. I love your chlorine.
Well, the chlorine doesn't like my skin, but it's but yeah, it is just appreciating everything that you have and never take anything for granted. That's a massive thing that I've learned, and and about communication as well. It's so key.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's our podcast wrapped up about the 3 lockdowns.
Our learning experience of lockdown, which hopefully you guys might be able to relate to, whether it might not even be fitness related. It could just be in general, whether it's general life where you just know, do you know what, I am going through a shit time at the minute, but like who cares? Like everyone's in it together. And yes, it doesn't matter who you speak to, whether it's friends, family, someone who you're not even close to, where you just like, do you know what, can I just pick up the phone? Just pick up the phone and have a quick 5-minute chat, whatever it is you need to do. And trust me when I say this, a 5-minute chat is better than no chat, because you could be sat there on your own day in and day out looking at 4 walls, thinking you're trapped in this block where you're just like, I'm fighting myself, my mind is fighting me. Like, it shouldn't be like that. And at the end of the day, we'll all get out of it together, and you'll be able to like push yourself and come out and be like, do you know what, I learned a hell of a lot through that lockdown, and if without it, it wouldn't have made me the person I am today. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed. We will be back with more, but stay tuned.
Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope that you enjoyed, and we are so excited to bring brand new content to this. So make sure you check out our socials to stay up to date of when we'll be posting next. Until the next one, take care, and remember, believe and achieve.